Do have the top hat and thumbs up. And the smartphone's correct? Alright, good. Making sure it's reset. Boom! Let's go. Let's go this way. Yeah. Jam going down the street. Woo! Almost 60 years old, man. Almost 59. That's it. No, almost 59. Oh, where did it go? I got my senior slam. I turned 55. Saved 42 cents. This was about becoming a senior citizen.
Got it right there. Yep.
Locked up. Who painted for those in there? Mine. Oh, okay. Jimmy, I didn't know Jimmy was artistic. I didn't know he was the artistic type. Let's see. Now we're gonna form like a little half circle right in here. You guys, come on, by. All right. Let's keep everything on this side so people have access to get through. Keep that. Oh, nicely done. Well, how's everyone doing?
Great. Good.
Hey, we do have a little enthusiasm here. I like that. First off, I do want to welcome everyone to St. Augustine. Thank you for choosing Secrets of St. Augustine Ghost Tour. My name is Dion, and I'm your storyteller. And that's right, I can spin these stories. Has everyone been around the city a good portion of the day?
Yep.
So we've had a chance to see some of the Spanish architecture. We do have lots of little bistros and ladies. I know that you know about the 275 stores right there on St. George Street along, guys. You may want to hide your cash and your credit cards. Also, clip-clop sound of the horse and buggies going around. Overall, it is quite charming, is it not? But as the sun goes down and darkness sets in, that's when you begin to feel the heaviness on your chest due to all the trauma and tragedy that has now occurred in this city for 451 years. But I am not going to promise you will see a ghost tonight. So I promise you will not see one either. So do keep your eyes open and a camera ready. Now, does everyone have cameras? I do see one here.
Just phones.
Phones. So I do have cameras and snippy, flashy picture taking apparatus. It's good. Because I will keep everyone. Oh, we actually got 2 cameras here. That's great. You don't see that often. I will keep everyone well informed of some of the hot spots and maybe capture some activity on your camera and your snippy, flashy picture taking apparatus. Now, the one thing I will promise, I am not going to jump at you. I shall not grab at you. This is nothing like Universal Studios. Not one thing like Disney. I have no one set up out here with sheets draped over them or masks running up going So please, I do not want anyone to expect this. Well, at least not to my knowledge. So if you see something out there, chances are it's real. But tonight, it will be ghost stories, tall tales, and legends. And has everyone had the opportunity to see the large body of water that St. Augustine sets upon the lovely bay. Has everyone had a chance to see the bay?
Yep.
Which used to be called Bay of the Dancing Dolphin. And that is a pretty name, is it not? Got that name from the Timucua. Now, if you've been around for a spell, you will hear some people say Timucua. I cannot stand it when somebody says things the wrong way. It's Timucua. Let me hear everyone say Timucua.
Timucua.
That was in harmony, guys. Good job. The Timucua Indians would watch the dolphins come into the bay to feed off the mullet. Now, when the dolphins would breach, come out the water to the Timucua, it looked as if dolphins were dancing, and therefore Bay of the Dancing Dolphin. But today, it is called Matanzas, and that's a very, very gory story. So, I am going to tell you why today we call it Matanzas, and I'm going to ask you. Yeah, you. You want to keep on calling it Matanzas? Or maybe let's go back to Bay of the Dancing Dolphin. Can you handle it? Affirmative. All right, guys, sit back, buckle up, hold on. Here we go. Back in the year of 1565, when the Spanish first came here to St. Augustine, Spain's greatest conquistador, conqueror, Don Pedro Menendez de Avilés knew he had to settle this wild land, had to settle it quickly. He knew the French would attack by that bay from the north, so he prepared muskets, cannons loaded, swords raised in the air. He was ready for the French, and the French came. Now, these superior forces outnumbered the Spanish 600 soldiers to 300 of the Spanish. They would have easily defeated them easily if it wasn't for one thing, one minor detail. Being September 1565 puts you right in the middle of
Hurricane season.
a step back and play that funky music. Yes, hurricane season. As the French fleets come a-sailing down the Matanzas, a hurricane blew in so mighty, so fierce, it shook, smashed those French ships into splinters. The French lamped out into lovely Matanzas Bay. They were beaten and battered down, now less than 170 strong. And Don Pedro did not hesitate. The man took full advantage, well, as any good soldier would, round them up 10 at a time, took them prisoner. These proud French Protestants offered them a choice. Oh yes, they did have a choice. You are to accept the crown of Spain, the Catholic faith, or you be put to death. Now, what do you suppose they chose? What would everyone in this group choose? Don't think about it. Every one of you here will convert at the drop of a dime. And I'll be right beside you, on my knees, hands in the air, screaming at top of my lungs, I will convert. But they chose death. That's what most of the battles fought over back then. Just like today, what you believe in, 10 at a time, and to the Matanzas Bay, each one met the unyielding sword of Menendez. Each one crumbled to his blade. He took their heads off. That's right, he cut their heads clean off, but then tossed the bodies along with those heads right back out into that bay until the lovely river you see here today ran red. Quite a bloody beginning to this little city known as St. Augustine, but we have had many upon many a vessel sail those waters at night. They will look over the side to see that water change, how the color it will deepen, darken, transform, boil, and froth into a bright, bloody red. But many had looked over to see faces, and those faces were lifeless eyes staring back at them from below. They will hear voices from the deep. That's faces and voices glided up through the depths of the Matanzas. Matanza do remember a word that always will mean massacres. So now, you are to tell me, what does Matanzas mean? Massacre, slaughters, bloody bay. You're learning things, a lot that. But now, the question is, do you want to keep on calling it massacre, slaughter, bloody bay? Or perhaps let's go back to Bay of the Dancing Dolphin. What's your choice? Bay of the Dancing Dolphin. Although Massacre Bay is historically accurate, I prefer Bay of the Dancing Dolphin as well. So I do say excellent choice. But I want everyone to know I'm just warming you up. You do realize this journey will intensify as we move deeper and deeper into the city. I'm preparing you for cemetery number 1. And we're not going to tell this next story beneath all these bright lights amongst all these people. No! We're going to maneuver to the back in the quiet and darkness, spin this next story. Are we ready for cemetery number 1? All right, you asked for this. Get this thing started, this direction. Here we go. Taking it to the house. We got a horse and buggy rapidly approaching at 1 mile an All right, I'll tell you what. While everybody's right here, I would like to do one thing. I would like to point out one little thing right here in front of this cemetery that will tie the entire story together. After I provide you with a visual, we are going to maneuver to the back. But do take a look at the old poplar tree in front of us, which does look like, kind of creepy in itself. And over to the right, we have a young live oak tree. And there is a row of stones at the front of the cemetery. But if everyone will take notice, tree to tree, and now east to west, right here in the dead front center, we have like a 30 by 20 yard span. There's not one tombstone. Now, does everyone see that grassy area? This void right here in front of the cemetery, that void is ever so important. Do keep that image in mind. Now, we'll maneuver into the darkness. I wonder what's up with all that cabbage. I wonder what's up with all that cabbage. I hope you realize I'm not quite right. You know that, do you know? I'm telling you straight up, I'm not quite right. Let's do it. Yeah, going to the darkness and into the city. Let's take it to the house. It's a beautiful night. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. Just right. I tell you what, while we're right here, guys, I would like to point out, you know, these are genuine, artificial palm logs in that palm log wall. Yeah, them genuine, artificial palm log in them palm log walls, which really doesn't mean one thing. I'm now using this for reference. Got a lot of traffic up in here, and place that we do visit in nighttime hours. People sometimes like coming back in the daylight hours and kind of see what's going on. In the event you want to do that, remember, we're now going to cut right alongside the genuine artificial palm logs and that palm log wall. So follow me this direction.
Me and Bree against well, we go on my path.
Here we go, right here. We got enough. Yeah. That's just for cars. You can see it. You can see that coming a mile down there. I know you see the white now. That. Did everyone? Did we? Well, I got some going, somewhat. I do a quick. Let me explain real quick. It was 1702. Governor James Moore, fighting for the British crown from the Carolinas, decided to attack St. Augustine. So at that point, they built the Kubo line, and that is Kubo line of defense. And it did start across the street at the fort. And right down Orange Street, you notice where I said take a look at those genuine artificial palm logs in that palm log wall? Guys, I did that intentionally because that's the recreation of the Kubo line. And it did run down Orange Street about a mile west, out to where the San Sebastian River is today. And we do have the Athenico drugstore right there on that corner. That's where the Rosario line ran behind the old drugstore through the city. Just about where the Casablanca Hotel or Flagler College is today. That's where it broke back to the water. This entire city safely behind the walls. And we're now actually outside of the old city limits right now. Now, did everyone know that? Well, now everyone does. Now, guys, in the year of 1821, Florida becomes a United States territory. But along with it come yellow fever, yellow jack, black vomit, whatever you want to call it. And it was carried by mosquitoes, killing 1 of every 3 people in old Florida. At that time, to be buried in the city limits, you had to be Spanish Catholic. This is why they opened the Huguenot. The Huguenot cemetery. This was for the Protestant faith. Also, 1821, formaldehyde, the embalming process had not been introduced. If you were bitten by an infected mosquito, you come down with yellow fever, you slip into a coma, guess what? Did not know what this coma was. They took you for dead, and they would bury you. Now, over the course of the next 30 years, being a United States territory, this city started to grow. Well, so did the size of the cemeteries. You must have a place to put the dead, correct? Correct?
Yep.
Coffins were exhumed. Yes, they were dug up to be moved over to larger family plots. Some of these coffins were opened. Something very odd was found. Very strange indeed. They were scratch and claw marks on the inside lid of coffins. Yes, people had been buried alive. The city became terrified. Terrified of being buried alive. Would you folks not be?
Yeah.
You daggone right. Terrified of being buried alive. So some people, they began to bury their relatives with food and water. Others were buried with air tubes that led to above ground. For some people, took it to the extreme of being buried with a string tied around your finger or your toe, which led to above ground bell. And this was called the Bateson Belfry Revival System. George Bateson, the man who brought us this technique, because of any of these people 6 foot under started to thrash, trying to scratch their way out, they'd ring those bells. They'd run into the old cemetery, dig that coffin up, get it above ground, open it up, and let you all go on your merry way. But we did have people that would sit in these old cemeteries sometimes up to 10 days. 10 days hoping, yes, hoping their dearly departed would come back. I would like you all now use your imaginations and let's think of all the people who had to sit out here at night. There were no lights, no electricity. It's just an old, dark, cold cemetery. People sat and scattered throughout, listening for bells to ring. Now you do know this is where the graveyard shift was instituted. The man or woman 6 foot under, string around your finger or your toe, became known as the dead ringer. But if you are fortunate enough, and friend, I do say fortunate enough to have yourself dug up, it was known as being saved by the bell. So these terms do date back much further than we originally thought. Bateson actually brought this over from Europe, 1850, patented it in the country in the year of 1852. And I'm now going to dare you. Better yet, I'm now going to double dog dare you. Oh yeah, I'm now moving in for the kill, honey. Please do not shoot your eyes out. I triple dog dare you. When you're sitting around doing absolutely nothing, I'd like you to Google Bateson's Belfry Revival System. This was one deranged puppy. Oh, the man was literally out there. And all you have to do, everyone stay put. I'm coming around to everyone. All you gotta do is click images. All the man's illustration drawings are on the internet for everyone to see. And like I said, do not move, I'll come to you. But what we have here from the United States Patent and Trademark Office, your upscale version of the Bateson Belfry Revival System, showing the body 6 foot below. But you had that money due to the breathing apparatus. Your run-of-the-mill version, Jesse Cano, would just be your air tube running up. But they did have many makes and models. Just depends on how much you want to spend on your Bateson Belfry Revival System. That way I know you'll get a complete understanding what I'm now trying to convey. I just told every one of you this cemetery opened 1821, did or not. By the year 1884, it was filled to capacity. We have 1,100 bodies. And this cemetery today, you heard me right, 1,100 bodies, and we only have 91 markers remaining. So what we're gonna do is take it from 1852, when this bell arrived, to 1884, filled to capacity. One of 6 people in that time frame. One of 6 people in St. Augustine alone was saved by a bell. But now we're gonna back up 1821 until the year of 1851, before this bell arrived. That void up front, every one of you saw, well, it was trenched up, dug up, all the way across the front of this cemetery. 1821, people were dying so rapidly, they were just tossed in, one on top of another. That void is the mass burial ground with 600 bodies in the mass burial ground alone. And I know every one of you knows that science and mathematics will not lie. Simple arithmetic, guys. The magic number 6, one of 6. Simply divide your magic number into 600 number of bodies in the mass burial ground. 6 into 600. What's your new number? Very, very good possibility between 100, maybe 150 of those 600 bodies tossed in was not even dead in the first place. They did not have that chance to be saved by a bell. And there'd be air pockets down below. Can you imagine your last visual alive? The last thing you want to see before heading to the great by and by is open your eyes surrounded with decomposing corpses. It happened. It got to a point then people buried their relatives with shovels and pickaxes. What good is that going to do? You wake up out of a coma not knowing where you are, 6 foot under, in a dark box with a pickaxe in your hand. Even if there was room to swing, it's coming right back in on top. Just a lose situation. You must understand that comatose state of mind. It's a very tricky thing. The vitals can slow down drastically. We're talking 3, 4, 5 heartbeats per minute. No stethoscopes as you have today. Simply roll a piece of paper up, listen to your chest. Your pulse so faint cannot pick it up, either breathing in the mirror. Therefore, they bury you alive. And last but not least, the most important part of this entire process will be those air tubes. Oh, those air tubes we use for multiple things. Yes, an oxygen source, 6 foot below, also would provide access for the string to run down tied to your finger or your toe, but also it will use for these people working this graveyard shift for all any of these people had to do in the middle of the night is walk over to any one of those air tubes and just grab one, bend over and go, no, you smell human decomposition. They knew it was over. They pour that air tube out, cover that hole up, go on their merry way. You do not smell human decomposition. You continue working that graveyard shift. So, does the group in front of me now, will all of you rather live back in the year of 1821 or this insidious, psychotic, presidential year of 2016? Now tell me something. Go, Mr. Trump. I'm staying right here in 2016. I'll darn skip you on that right there. But I might step over to my psychotic side now, guys, and I got to amp it up for cemetery number 2. Now, I do want everyone to know I've been telling these stories now 17 years in this city. This next cemetery is where I had my one and only one ghostly encounter. That's why I cannot watch shows that a lot of you probably watch today, and they do say technology, but I cannot accept every single episode seeing, hearing, validating something. I do not buy that. When I have slept in both of these cemeteries, 8 of the haunted bed and breakfasts, 3rd floor of the old jail, Spanish military hospital, top of the lighthouse. For this next cemetery, my one, and only one ghostly encounter, so I'm going to show everyone. Well, I want you to take 2 different pictures at 2 different locations at this next cemetery that I'm going to show every one of you a picture taken back February 13th, Saturday night by a 12-year-old girl named Mallory. This picture is taking the paranormal world by storm. I have received email confirmation from the Atlantic Paranormal Society. Taps authenticate the picture. They do what's called layered. Does either one of you know what layered is? I just found out this. Do you? Where they can bring a picture up in 3D, and that way they can see if things have been inserted, or what we call photoshopped. They could not debunk this picture. They asked, where did you get this? When I told them a 12-year-old girl, sparked them right on up. They wanted to know the story. Now they do. So it is a very good possibility. Story, cemetery, and picture end up being an upcoming episode of Ghost Hunters. That's why you have that top hat and thumbs up in your smartphone. I do own this picture today. Her parents signed the rights over to me. The story is 92 years old. And at the end of the story, I'll be glad to give you this picture. And our technology today, hoping that you'll show it to more people, get more insight. But if you accept the picture, you will take this story home with you. And it will remain with you the rest of your life, just like it's consumed me for the past 15 years. So before you say, text it over, make sure, do I really want it? Are we ready for cemetery number 2?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Taking it to her. I'll take it in. I love yellow that horse spit and apple chunk. Got another horse and buggy rapidly approaching at 1 mile an hour, so we gotta hurry up. Here it comes. Run!
Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, right?
Got to do the ball.
Thank you.
Hi, Santa. Merry Christmas. Now, I am going to show you where we're going to take photograph number 1. My advice, take one with flash. Take one without flash. Either or. Come on down. We're going to show you. We're going to come right back to the entrance, but right past it here, we're going to see a small little tombstone. Right up here, barely in the light, right here. Does everyone see that small little stone? Mm-hmm. Now I do encourage, take 1 or 2, you know, take one with flash, one without flash, right here. I don't get it. Like I said, all brand new fence work. But they actually covered up the historical marker. That's pretty bright on the part of a city architect, but it does say Tolomato Cemetery, and prior to the year 1763, the site inhabited were the Tolomato Indians. 1777 is when Father Pedro Kent had to have a place to bury the Spanish Catholic. We just left the Protestant burial ground, so here would be the Spanish Catholic burial ground. And if everyone would take a look straight through the gate, directly in the center, with help from the lights of that mausoleum, you should be able to see the silhouette of the headstone of the sarcophagus of a predominant St. Augustine by name Bishop Augustine Barrow. Does everyone see the headstone? All right, well, we'll talk more about the bishop shortly. I just wanted you to see that because I want to talk about my only one ghostly encounter right now. We'll come back to the bishop shortly. But, guys, it was a Monday night. It was toward the end of February, rather bright for a Monday night at the end of February. The exact date was February the 19th, and the year was 2001. I remember that day because it was the day after Dale Earnhardt, that famous race car driver, he was killed down in Daytona. Oh, there were lots of race fans in this city. And at that particular phase of my life, I was driving the horse and buggies, which I know all of you have seen and probably smelled the entire time of being here. Town being packed, I was asked to go to the compound, pick out a team of horses, and bring out the tank. It's a rather large carriage, holds 20 people. It's what it takes 2 horses to pull it. Dressed my horses out, hooked my carriage up, drove it to the bayfront. Drove it to the bayfront. And wouldn't you know it, 20 NASCAR fans piled on that carriage. Oh, they wanted to go on that joyride. Yeehaw! Go number 3. They did not want to hear one bit of history. And that was okay with me. I did not have to talk. But do bear in mind, a horse and buggy, as I've said twice, travels a rapid speed of 1 mile an hour. Slow way, seeing the city. I pass this cemetery. Now let's just go by here. I don't want this to tarry. Approximately 5:15 p.m. when I glanced into the white of this tree, and I saw what appeared to be a 5 or 6-year-old boy. He had dark hair, a dark vest, light color shirt, dark breeches, light color sock, little black shoes. He had a little black tie, just sitting in the wire of this tree. My first instinct was, boy, you know you better get out of that tree. You are the locked up cemetery. Your mom and daddy gonna bust a hind end, catch up in that tree. When all of a sudden everyone on that carriage saw him. They all started to heckle him, razz him, try to give him a hard time. The young boy never uttered a word to us. And up to this past February 13th, again, the Saturday night of this past year, I never saw him again. And boy, did I try. The nights I have actually slept on that balcony, along the side there, pitching my one-man tent, so I could bring out my digits, camis up on tripod. Up to this past February, never saw him again. 9 months after this happens to me, I happen to be doing research at the Historical Society when I stumbled upon an old newspaper article back from 1924 about the small stone. I told everyone to take a picture of, for beneath that stone lies the body of a 5-year-old boy by the name of James Patrick Morgan, who died here November the 28th of 1877 as he was plagued about this tree. Being much smaller at that time, climbing up and down, shimmy out on that limb, but about where that stone is today, he took one fatal fall, landed on his head, snapped that neck, killed him instantly. However, in the same newspaper article, they were reporting on how many times he had been seen sitting and why this tree back in 1924 when the boy passed of 1877. For some odd reason, the sighting started 37 years after his death. Now today we do not know where the Father James Sr. is buried, nor do we know where the Mother Dolores Morgan's buried either. We also have no clue why the boy's mother purchased all those plots around the Morgan stone and had that little boy buried all by himself. Did anyone else notice that? We have no clue why she chose to have her son buried all by himself. And the last burial took place 1892, so it does look as if the end of time, James Morgan always going to be buried by himself. So, photograph number 2 will be the why of this tree. James Morgan, perhaps the most famous ghost story in our city, and why everyone is now taking a picture of the why in the tree. I gotta ask, when we approach this cemetery, did I not take every one of you right down here to take photograph number 1? At that point, did I say one thing about this tree? Did I say one thing about the little boy? No. The exact same thing. February 13th, the 8 o'clock tour, past 2016, 25, can I help you? All right. 25 people on that particular journey. 24 just as you were. Down there taking photograph number 1. Number 25 was standing right here. That's our 12-year-old girl, Mallory, which I found rather odd. I had to step up. I said, honey, what are you doing? She said, I feel like there is a little boy around me right now. I go, excuse me? The little boy, he is around the both of us right now. I go, is he now? The family is from Millersville, Georgia. Her mother come running down this sidewalk just screaming for me to pay no attention to Mallory. Here I'm thinking this child's done said something about a little boy twice. I looked dead at her mother and said, why should I not listen to Mallory? Her mother told me that when Mallory was growing up, had so many imaginary friends, there's no telling which ones you're talking to. I said, oh. So now you're telling me, some point in your daughter, whatever that guy was on, that's kind of funny. So now you're telling me your daughter's had imaginary friends, hundreds of them. Oh, so you know they're very interesting. I said, Mallory is a little bit beyond the age, but I said, you do realize children that are up to the age of 8 years of age and younger are what scientists call an alpha state of mind. Do either one of you really know what an alpha state of mind really is? You notice how children have the ability to look into your soul, know if you're good, they know if you're bad. They're genuine. If you look funny, they tell you look funny. If you smell funny, they're going to tell you smell funny. It's just genuine. Does a dog not know if you're good and bad? Does a dog, I'm not comparing a child to a dog, but the alpha state of mind. I said there is no valid evidence anywhere that validates a child imaginary friends imaginary. It's just you, the adult, pounding her head, no such thing. Leave Mallory alone. And at that point, she held her little hand out and said, Dion, do I have anything in my picture? I go, text me that picture. You not ready to have your minds blown. I'm going to come around small groups. Is it not the tree? From now on, you take a picture of it when you start examining. There goes $1,000. I'm not even poor, I'm poor. OR's in layaway, guys. I can't afford to be poor. I'm poor. Really? All I get one take is quick look at the top of these windows all the way down to the bottom. Now, does everyone see this? Because in the year of 1901, it was glass, top all the way to the bottom. 1901, glass, top to the bottom. But today, all 8 of these windows, they are designed in this fashion. You'll see one right down the north, 3 down the east, 4 down south, because of the sueños. Now, who knows what those words mean? Very good. Step back and kiss yourself. Yeah. House of Dreams. But that is a very odd name, considering what the building used to be. Who knows what the building used to be?
Sanatorium?
What?
Sanitarium?
No.
Morgue?
Yeah, yes. This is the old funeral parlor, the old morgue. Here is where formaldehyde, embalming, was introduced in our city. And I'm not talking embalming as old King Akhenaten or the Egyptians or Macedonians. How about the Babylonians? Or the Assyrians? Or the Dorians? Basically, the list goes on where they take your organs out your body, put your organs in a vase, fill your body up with sawdust and mummify you. We're talking the chemical formaldehyde derived right toward the end of the Civil War due to the 625,000 deaths. Had not been for that Civil War, we may or may not have formaldehyde here today. But does either one of you know what they used to do with these nice, pretty windows? Open them up? No. They would prop coffins up from the inside with a dead body in there. They put you on display, advertise. I said embalming in 1901, they wanted to show how long they could preserve your body before you started to decompose. And like right over at the Huguenot, you die before formaldehyde, you're in the ground, 24 or 36 hours later. But with formaldehyde, that's when your family can mourn for you 3, 4, and sometimes up to 5 days. But can you imagine, say 1905, come riding by here at night in your horse-drawn carriage, traveling at rapid speed of 1 mile an hour and hearing weird noises coming from this building. Those strange chemical smells that just about choke you. Embalming was a mystery to them at that time. Then you look up, see your friends and your neighbors or relatives dead on display as a form of advertisement. You must admit, that is some creepy stuff, is it not? Yeah, I have seen pictures from the early 1900s where all 8 windows had 8 coffins and 8 dead bodies in those coffins. So, you may want to grab a picture or 2 of these windows as well. As you see the coffins, they long gone. It's in your pictures when that body or 2 still remain. So while you have your opportunity, grab yourself a picture or 2 of the old funeral parlor, and we'll make our way across the street. Oh, we got a chance. After you take it.